There is an old rule in diplomacy. Well, this rule is precisely the reason why diplomacy is not something that anyone with a non-twisted frame of mind can understand. The rule is that if it is getting tough to fight a large enemy, you need to break them into small parts, and India is doing just that. And welcome to TFI English, the national socio-political analysis arm of the TFI Media Group. I am your host Piyush, and if you haven't subscribed to the TFI English channel yet, please hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon to receive all the latest updates. Coming back to the story, I am here to tell you how India is leveraging its consuming power to turn things around in Southeast Asia. OIC has been one big headache for India. Time and again, it has tried to intervene in India's internal trade. With consistent chiding, India has given it back as well. But sometimes that's not enough, and that is why India is slowly poking a hole in its Southeast Asian section of the grouping. Indonesia has again scrapped its policy of levying duty on its palm oil exports. According to its finance ministry officials, the export levy had led to the piling up of inventories, which is why government intervention was required to clear them. Earlier this year, the country had banned the export of palm oil to other countries starting April 28. It has imposed the ban due to the shortage and soaring prices of edible oil in the Southeast Asian nation. Later, on May 23, it lifted the ban and imposed domestic market obligation to ensure supply in the domestic market. Later, Indonesia allowed those companies who were reluctant towards domestic supply initiative to export. The only condition was that they had to pay $200 per ton over and above export tax and levy. Even then, the exports did not pick momentum, and the problem forced the government to remove levy. Indonesia is the world's biggest producer of palm oil. Logically, it is the biggest exporter as well. However, its non-uniform export policies have raised a big question mark on its ability to provide cooking oil to the world. India is also one of the countries hit by this kind of erraticism. However, India used the opportunity to leverage its geopolitical interests. Let's see how. India is the world's #1 importer of palm oil. Ideally, Indonesia should have been our top oil supplier, and it was for a long period of time. In fact, India-Indonesia bond has been extremely close. However, it is also a fact that world's largest Islamic country had tried to stab India in the back when we were fighting with Pakistan in the 1965 war. It had even offered to open a front for Pakistan in the Andaman Nicobar Islands, and even preparations were on for sending submarines. Additionally, Indonesia has always been hand in gloves with OIC nations in launching diplomatic offenses against India. It simply meant that just like Russia is a second front for crude oil, we had to find another option for palm oil. Malaysia became the second option. Even that was not easy. Mahathir Mohamad, Malaysia's Prime Minister, had openly criticized India's decision to abrogate Article 370 and said that India had invaded and occupied the region. There were demands in India of banning palm oil imports from the country. Later, Mahathir acknowledged that he was at fault for Malaysia's strained relationship with India. It did bring some thaw in the relationship, and the palm oil trade between the both countries started to rise again. By the end of June 2021, Malaysia had in fact replaced Indonesia as a top palm oil supplier to India. Indonesian exports fell by 32% on year-on-year basis. In May this year, India expressed its willingness to increase palm oil exports from Malaysia. B.N. Reddy, the Indian High Commissioner to Malaysia, had said that India wanted 2 million tons more palm oil from Malaysia over that 5-year average. In other words, India indicated to Indonesia that it is willing to reduce its dependence on Indonesian palm oil to 0%. Malaysia and Indonesia both are key members of OIC, especially in Southeast Asia. In fact, in the wake of Pakistan's unstable polity, they form the base on which OIC can rely for implementation of their agendas. But by making both of them compete for exporting palm oil to India, India is shaking the pillars of OIC in the region. Moreover, Indonesia does not come overtly against India while Malaysia does. By making it dependent on revenue from India, we are increasingly making Malaysia passive, and Mahathir's acknowledgement of his mistake on Article 370 is a prime example of that. If somehow India is able to ensure that Indonesia is not eliminated from our import basket and diversify it in favor of both countries, it could turn out to be handy for us. In short, India has the opportunity to snatch this segment of OIC from radical Islamic hands.